This district court is located in California. Trump flipped the court. It used to be one of the most liberal courts in the country. Trump flipped it. It's now conservative. What we're going to do is we've got a path to bring this directly to the Ninth Circuit Court and get an emergency injunction that's going to stop the purge that YouTube's trying to do, and in fact, try to reverse the purge so that your favorite channels like SGT Report comes back online so that you are able to see them and you know that the people that you love, their voices will not be silenced anymore.
Hey friends, Sean from SGTReport.com and SGTReport.tv here with a very important emergency broadcast with Zach Voorhees, the Google and YouTube whistleblower. Zach, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Sean, for having me on the show on short notice.
Well, thanks for reaching out. You texted me. I said, let's do it right now. You're trying to raise money for an emergency injunction against who? Google and YouTube or just YouTube?
Well, Google owns YouTube, so it's going to be filed against Google. Okay. But it's going to be to stop the YouTube purge.
All right, guys, on October 15th, as you all know, YouTube in Purge 3.0, as it's being called, took down, without warning and without cause, dozens and dozens of Truth News YouTube channels. The list is long, and I won't even go down the whole list because I'll accidentally leave people out, and everybody deserves to have their channels read. So I'm sorry I don't have a more comprehensive list, but it's tortious interference in my view. It's election meddling. It was clear-cut collusion internally, Zach. Obviously, this had to be internal collusion at YouTube. It was a plan. It was coordinated. It was an attack, and in my view, it's 100% criminal.
That's right. I mean, basically, this is unregulated lobbying on behalf of one presidential candidate. Obviously, the channels that have been removed have been for another candidate that Google doesn't like. And so what they've done is they've decided to betray their shareholders. They've decided to betray their mission statement of organizing the world's information and making it universally accessible. And they're doing this by meddling in the election with a site-wide purge of people that are pro-Trump. You know what? It's not about whether you're left or right or liberal or conservative or anything that's dialectic. It's about the freedom of speech.
Absolutely. Without our First Amendment, Zach, this is no longer a constitutional republic. And big tech has taken it one step too far. First, they tried to can that New York Post story about Hunter Biden's laptop. That was on the 14th. And then the purge happened, Zach, on the 15th. I don't believe that's a coincidence, Zach. I think they're scared to death of what's on Hunter Biden's laptop, and they don't want anybody reporting about it. By the way, I am reporting about it and have in 2 comprehensive videos already up on my BitChute channel, Zach. But they don't want this information available on YouTube, the world's biggest town square.
Yep, and they are ruining it. And that's the reason why sites like yours are going off, is because they want to win this election and they don't care what it costs. And so this Hunter Biden is an explosive revelation. They knew that it was going to be damaging. They did a purge on October 15th. Word is from Sarah Westall that there's another purge on the way on October 31st. That's why this emergency injunction is so important. We need to get this funded and get this emergency injunction because the DNC has been very clear. They are going to try and steal this election, even if they lose the Electoral College. I don't know if you've read about this, but there's the Transition Integrity Project. It was released by the DNC. It is a war gaming scenario where they gamed a bunch of different scenarios about the election night. On page 17, it clearly states the strategy that will play out if Trump wins the Electoral College but loses the popular vote. And in this case, Team Biden, played by the John Podesta, stated that what they would do is that they would not concede, and they would continue to contest the election. And that they would contest the election and try to break off California, Oregon, and Washington as Cascadia. And that what would happen is that they would horse trade. And they had several demands in order for Biden conceding. One is that they would break up California into 5 different states. Now, a lot of people may think that that's a good thing, but let me tell you why it's not. Currently, all of California has 2 senators. If the blue state of California gets broken up into 5 states, the number of senators goes from 2 to 10, which is plus 8. They also want to create statehood for DC and Puerto Rico, which would bring an additional 4. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to swing the Senate with 12 additional senators. Additionally, in order to concede the race, Team Biden, led by Podesta, stated that they would force the abolishment of the Electoral College. It is very clear what they're trying to do is end the United States as we know it. This system, this Electoral College, was put in place so that the electoral fraud that would be committed in the cities could not fester and corrupt the entire country. This is why this is so important that we put a stop to this purge, because by speaking the truth, we can wake up our fellow people and tell them about the true nature of the crime syndicate that is trying to steal this election with an election coup. And this is why I'm putting everything I can into getting this campaign funded. Let me tell you about the lawyer. I interviewed a lot of lawyers, and after a vetting process, I found the perfect lawyer. She's in California, which, if you read the terms of service with YouTube, requires that you sue them in California. And we didn't want to have the delay of a venue challenge in order to get this into any other state. So the attorney has to be in California. Second, they have to know what is going on with Section 230 and have a case history of study. The person we selected is a woman by the name of Chris Armenta. She runs her own law firm with her partner. She's been suing Google for a very long time. She's got to use a Nancy Pelosi statement, a quiver full of arrows that she's going to point directly at the heart of Google. She is working on this campaign right now. I'm sorry, she's working on this injunction right now. She's already starting it with the assumption that this campaign can and will get funded. If we get this funded this week, we are going to have an injunction by Friday. And so you that's sitting here, if you love SGT Report, if you love X22 Report, if you love Red Pill 78, if you love Thomas and True Reporting, you must spread the word. This is our last stand, Patriots. We have to get this emergency injunction filed. We cannot let the DNC steal this election.
Friends, the website to go to help us fund this is punchgoogle.com. That's punchgoogle.com. We need to raise around $130,000 to get this done. Look, that's chump change for Patriots. Guys, we have a network. All of us together have a network. Look, millions and millions of subscribers were terminated, purged by YouTube on the 15th. If we get the word out and everybody pitched in $5, $10, $20, we'll get this thing funded in no time. That's punchgoogle.com. Zach, explain to people what an injunction means and what it does. Would channels be instantly restored? How does that work?
Let me use an analogy, okay? So an analogy for emergency injunction would be, let's say that you're a fisherman and you've got a pile of fish sitting at the dock on ice, ready to go and be sold for a distributor. And then what happens is that the state comes in and says, no, you've got to keep the fish here. So what happens is that if you're the fish owner, you need to get an emergency injunction in order to prevent the spoilage of fish. That's the basis of this. Right now, we've got a time-limited problem, which is the fact that the election is just a few weeks away. Google has purged these channels because they wanted to deprive the Patriots of a reasonable time to respond and stop this. And they know that if they do this without enough time to react, that they can go and do their thing unchallenged, which is to steal this election. An emergency injunction is something we're going to go to the court and we're going to say, this needs to happen right now. We cannot go through the normal injunction relief process of weeks and months in order to get this filed. We have to file it immediately. And the best way that we can do that is we have to have a path to the Ninth Circuit Court. This district court is located in California. Trump flipped the court. It used to be one of the most liberal courts in the country. Trump flipped it. It's now conservative. What we're going to do is we've got a path to bring this directly to the Ninth Circuit Court and get an emergency injunction that's going to stop the purge that YouTube's trying to do, and in fact, try to reverse the purge so that your favorite channels like SGT Report comes back online so that you are able to see them and you know that the people that you love, their voices will not be silenced anymore.
Friends, I just want to make one point before we let Zach go. Number one, what he described earlier with Podesta and the Transition Integrity Project is a white-collar coup. All right, when you imagine a third world nation, we've all seen video of this where the troops show up at the palace and it's an actual blue-collar coup. This is a white-collar coup. They want to steal this election one way or the other. And the reason this emergency injunction is so critical is because this is a clear and present danger to a fair election. They won't report about Hunter Biden's hard drive in the mainstream media. Okay, they're trying to avoid it. 50 intelligence people came together and said it looks like a classic Russian op. Nothing new to see here. In their words, that's what they said about Hunter Biden's hard drive. Friends, big tech is colluding with the DNC, with Podesta, with the Transition Integrity Project, the Democrats, to try to steal this election. So please, 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 go to punchgoogle.com, pitch in $20, and let's get this thing funded so we can get this emergency injunction filed. All right, last thing I wanted to show you, Zach, I want your thoughts on this. Take a look at this. This is a hit piece from October 15th, the same exact day all these channels were purged, and they talk gleefully about YouTube cracking down on QAnon conspiracy content. Now, Q's made a good point. There's no such thing as QAnon. There's Anons, and there's Q. Okay? These people have conflated it into some sort of cult. None of us wear Nike tennis shoes and meet on an island and drink Kool-Aid. Most of us have never met each other. We're just researchers who care about the Constitution and the rule of law. And I'm not even a Q channel. I've said I don't blindly trust any plan, but these people are gleeful about the takedown of Q channels, but guess what? It wasn't Q that all those channels had in common, Zach, that got taken down. Do you know what the common denominator was, Zach? Pedophilia and child sex trafficking. Every single one of the channels that were purged on October 15th reports about pedophilia and child sex trafficking. And now what are we hearing might be on Hunter Biden's laptop, Zach? Do you think it's a coincidence?
No, there is not a coincidence here. There's been a preparation and numbing of the public conscious for the reception of truth. And what the truth is that this global crime syndicate, of which Joe Biden is a member of, is deeply corrupt. And what they do is they search out for minor attracted persons and elevate them into positions of power. Hunter Biden has been caught up because his blackmail or his files, I'm not entirely sure what the nature of it is. We're still waiting to see more about this, but it's very clear that this is a deeply sick and troubled individual. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to find channels like yours that are willing to speak the truth to the American public and take them down so that only their controlled media narratives can exist on the internet, so that there is a echo chamber that will only talk about the things that the deep state crime syndicate wants them to talk about. And right now, the American public, it's almost half the public is still entrapped in this false narrative. And this narrative is breaking down by the exposure of truth. And this is why we have to continue to amplify the truth and help our fellow American wake up to the true crimes of this global crime syndicate known as globalism.
100%, friends. If we've been waiting for a white knight, maybe it's Zach Voorhees. He's actually taking action. The plans are in place. The attorney is ready to go. She's working on the injunction. All we need to do is fund it. That's all we need to do. So be a white knight and help us fund this, and let's take the fight to Google and YouTube. Zach, I just said it in a video I released yesterday because they took down another channel in real time, Methods. I was watching the channel as I was on Twitter, and he says they just took down my channel as I was watching it. I said I better not hit refresh then, so I opened a new tab, and boom, the channel had been terminated in real time. These people are unrelenting, and now we're going to take the fight to them because they are fascists, they are totalitarians, and they are committing crimes against patriots every single day, and it cannot be allowed to continue. Friends, the website is punchgoogle.com. That's punchgoogle.com. I will leave a link below. Please, please, please go over there now and help us fund this thing. And please, anybody who would like to rip this video down and re-upload it on your channel, go for it. Please spread this far and wide because we're running out of time and Zach can't get on everybody's show. So please spread this information far and wide. Zach, any final words? Anything I forgot to mention?
I want to just say as closing that 100% of the funds that are being raised will be going to cover the legal costs of this injunction. We're going to do it right away. We're going to do it this week. So please, if everyone that's listening right now gave $5, $10, $20, we can fund this thing today, and that's all I got to say. I haven't had very much sleep. I've been working on this for the last 4 days. And so, Sean, thank you so much for having me on the show. I want to promise you that I will continue to fight and keep your voice alive.
Well, thank you, Zach. I know you're fighting on behalf of all of us, as I am. That's the only reason I started my channels, was to fight for the United States and for the Constitution and for the rule of law. That's the only reason those channels ever existed, okay? And that's why I want them back, because I had access to 745,000 subs between two channels. Guys, I'm remiss if I didn't mention it at the beginning. Zach is the Google YouTube whistleblower. He worked at YouTube for 8 years, I think. He knows these people. He knows what he's talking about. He's the real deal. Please, punchgoogle.com right now, and let's punch these bastards right in the nose, because sometimes all a bully understands is getting punched in the nose. All right. Zach, thank you so very much. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. And friends, God bless you, man. And friends, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys so very much. You can catch my stuff, the exclusives, everything at sgtreport.tv. There's a dedicated server, so we don't have to worry about these fascist tyrants anymore. Also, I'm putting just about everything up on my BitChute channel and over at Rumble. You can find me there, of course, Parler, whatever. Just find us, guys. Look, we have to stick together. We have to, because we have power together. That's why they took us all down, because we were powerful on YouTube. We had a strong voice. We were reaching people on the world's largest town square. We were reaching the world, so they silenced us. Let's take the fight back to them. punchgoogle.com. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and for Real News 24/7, visit me directly at sgtreport.com, the antidote to corporate propaganda 24/7. God bless. Bye-bye.